we learned that WOR says were. It's just mean and rude. Why? Why does it say were? Why can't it just say war? No, WAR has to say war. It's just wrong. So we learned, and this is what we're going to go over today. WA says wa, WAR says war, and WOR says were, as in worm. And it's this that is going to be in these extra practice words. So anytime you see a WOR, it's going to sound like a WER. So number one is clapworm. Clapworm. Compound word because we have two complete words. Clapworm. Number two, worship. Worship. Be careful that an R doesn't sneak in right there. It is not worship. It is worship. Number three is blepeworm. Blepeworm. Or flip-worthy. Flip-worthy. Another compound word. There's the two words, flip and worthy. Number five, wormindist. Wormindist. If it was just wormin, then that would be a compound word. Worm and in, but the extra letters disqualify it as a compound word. Wormindist. Number six has a soft G because of that E. So we have Jepworth. Jepworth. Number seven, Werfindy. Werfindy. It looks like Warfindy, doesn't it? But now that you guys are in this class, you know that it's Werfindy. Number eight, pigworm. Compound word. Pigworm. I'm glad that's not a thing. Sounds. Number nine is pistol-worthy. Pistol-worthy. And number 10 is Worcestad. Okay, now that one is hard to wrap your mouth around because of this SH and this S. Getting those sounds in the right spot. Worcestad. Worcestad. All right, so any questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, we're going to dive on into our next. Diving on into our. So this lesson is going to be a wrap up of all of the W rules. And then our next lesson, I believe Monday is a holiday, but let me look. Number. Yeah, our last May lesson will be on Wednesday, and that's going to be a wrap up of all the W and R rules. Yeah, 3 was hard. Let me go back and look at that. I got somebody in the chat that was saying 3 is hard. Blepeworm. There is. Blep. You know what? I wonder if part of it is there's kind of an M that wants to sneak in right here. Blepim. But we have to make sure that we control the shape of our mouth from the I to the W. Blepeworm. If you can control the shape of your mouth from one sound to the next, then the sounds should come out correctly. Do some phonemic awareness warm up. How many sounds in soccer? Sounds, and it's probably not soccer, but let's pretend it is. How many sounds in soccer? Okay. The answers. So in soccer, we have S, A, R. A, R. 4 sounds in soccer. Okay, how many sounds in? Start easy and then I'm going to get a little harder. How many sounds in web? So the sound for W is probably a lot shorter than you might think. Most of us probably grew up with the sound of W saying wah, wah, right? Our jaw kind of drops when we say wah. But time goes on, the sound of W gets shorter and shorter and shorter. So now it's kind of as they're teaching in schools, which is good. It's a good thing. But the sound for W is just woo, woo. Your lips almost don't even move. Just woo. It's the first sound in windy. What? It's just woo, woo. Okay, so in web, there are 3 sounds. Woo, b. Now, is spider web a compound word or is that 2 words? Anybody know? In the meantime, let's pretend it's a compound word, even if it's not. I want to know how many sounds in spider web. Spider web. Some people doing some research for me to see if that's a compound word or not. Okay, so spider web has 8 sounds. We have s, p, I, d, w, e, b. I, d, w, e, b. 8 sounds in spider web. Okay. If you missed it, that's okay. These are hard. All right. How many sounds in wasp? Be really careful about the sound of that W. This is the sound for W is not wah, wah, or even wah. It's just wah. Tricky for a lot of people who aren't in this class to know that wah, 2 different sounds. So yes, wasp has 4 sounds. Wah, ah, s. You guys are getting good at this. Wah, ah, s. 4 different mouth shapes or 4 different sounds. Now, just for fun, how many sounds in, let's pretend it was a bee. Maybe it was. I don't know my insects very well, but. Thank you, Adama. Adama says I'm going in and out. I want to know if I do because I'm doing a lot of. How many sounds in bee? Yeah. A lot of people are confused about this also because the letter name for bee is B. And so a lot of kids grow up thinking that B is one sound because it's the name of the letter. Same with the letter N and the letter L. They think the sound for N is N. They think the sound for L is L, but those are actually 2 sounds on all of those. So B, the word bee, like a bumblebee, has 2 sounds in it. B, E. Good job, guys. Good job. Yes, please let me know if my mic goes out because I am working extensively on this whole mic thing. Okay, so we are doing our combination of reading rules today. We have WA. I'm looking right up here. Let me put looking right up here. WA says wa, as in wash, wash. wander, wasp, water, want, wallop. The sound for W-A-R is war, as in warp, wart, warm, ward. It sounds like an O-R should be there, but it's mean and rude, so it's an A-R. So the O-R says were, as in word, worship, worm, worthy. Okay, so this one sounds like an O-R. This one sounds like an E-R, but we are smart, intelligent adults, so we can figure this out as hard as they try to make it. We can do this. Okay, so let's annotate our words. I'll do my number one. So I know that this A is going to say A because the next two letters are consonants. Here I have a O-R after a W that's going to say Y at the end of multisyllable words says E usually. So the sounds are A, P, W, Z, E. Worthy. Worthy. Try yours. So when we pencil read this word, we know that the I is going to say I because the next two letters are consonants. That O-R is going to sound like and the Y at the end is going to say E. So we have it, E. Writworthy. Writworthy. Okay. Number two, I'm going to put a short mark here, a brev, because the next two letters are consonants. So that O is going to say ah. This AR is going to say or. So when we pencil read this word, we have b, l, ah, t, w, or, warm. Compound word, blot and warm. Blot, warm. Yeah? All right, go ahead and try yours. Nice. Make sure when you make this very last sound that it doesn't say P. Remember how we were talking about some people think that the sound for B is B, they think the sound for N is N, and they think the sound for L is L. Some people think the sound for P is P. So the sound for P has no voice, only air. So make sure it ends with a spitting sound, a voiceless spit. It's kind of like a p, p. It's a popping. So it's not, you're not going to hear any E sound at the end. So when we pencil read this word, we have t, w, or p. Clut warp. Clut warp. Yeah. So make sure it's not clut warpy. Okay. It's just clut warp with that p. All right. Number three. Here we have a short A that says A because the next two letters are consonants. Here we have an OR that says because it follows a W. And here we have a three-letter blend, three consonants at the beginning of a word. Stir. Make sure you grab every single one. So when we pencil read this word, we have st-r-and w-er-old. Want to nod at me if you have your video on? Is that a compound word? Can you recognize two words in there? Yeah. So let's just do those two words one at a time. So here we have strand, strand, like a strand of hair. And here we have world, world. So when you put those two together, we have strand world. It's not an easy word to say because those R's make it tricky to articulate. So try to get those R's in the right spot. Strand world. There's also an L right after that R, which makes it kind of hard to pronounce. Nice. Okay, here we have another compound word on number 3. You can do two words on their own or the whole thing together. So here we have an I, and here we have a So this word is it, world, spit world, spit world, spit world. I feel like there should be some sort of joke that I should say about that, but I'm not quick enough to come up with one. World. Okay, number 4, we have this wa. That's just something that we have to remember. There is no good reason why that should say wa and not way. The tap 2 rule says that it should be way. Same with the rule where A is almost to the beginning and there's another vowel 2 doors down. The A says it's schwa sound. All of those go out the window when there's a W in front of it. And there's no real easy way to remember that it says wa. But that's the rule. So the more we see it, the more we practice it, hopefully the easier it will be to remember. So this A is going to sound like an ah because it follows a W. This I is going to say I. So when we pencil read this word, we have w-a-p-ish, wapish, wapish. And try yours. So here we have wa. Again, that A after a W says ah. I is going to say I because the next 2 letters are consonants. Wa-ah, ch. When we sound that out, it is wamich. Wamich. How did you do? Will you put in the chat how you did on those? Dying to know how you did on those. That was a hard lesson. That was not easy.